Broadcasting live from East York, Ontario, Canada, through the internet to your computer. You are listening to Radio Nation. I'm Andrew Phillips. Join the live studio with Nick Pescod and the band In My Coma. Good evening, folks. How we doing tonight?
Word up.
Good evening.
Hey.
Hi, Jen in Scotland.
We mocking people already.
We're not mocking people. Okay. We're doing shout-outs.
Just making sure.
We pay very close attention to our Twitter, so we're giving the shout-outs where shout-outs are due.
Excellent. Not waiting until the end of the interview like we did before.
Yeah,
Because I almost completely forgot. It was like, oh, hey, you guys were on Twitter, right? So, you guys were here in January or February? One of those two. It was early on in the show.
It's colder.
Yes, it was much colder. And since then, there's been Canadian Music Week.
There has been Canadian Music Week.
That was definitely a busy week for us.
So
it was what, 3 shows?
You came out and visited us a couple times.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, I was living in Toronto for 5 days, basically just going from show to show to park bench to show.
Yeah.
You
Not sober.
Yeah. Oh, you kidding? I was totally sober.
Yeah, and you were at the ballroom show.
Yeah,
which was a kind of a neat show that we played. I don't think we've done anything like that before.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. It was that show right above a bowling alley where I think it costs about $90 to $100 per hour to bowl.
Really?
I think so. Yeah,
Something
that's
ridiculous.
what we heard while we were there. Yeah.
I don't know. I did none of the bowling, so I couldn't tell you.
It's better for us though, because then people don't want to bowl; they go upstairs and watch the music, right? So I think that's what happened because we had a pretty good crowd when we played there.
Mm-hmm. And you guys were you were towards like the end of the night, right?
Not that one. We were in the middle of that night.
Okay.
Which is fine by us. You know, there were a lot of people. That's all that really matters, right?
Laura had a secret admirer that wasn't so secret.
Well, now I have to ask you about that, Laura.
Yeah, it seems the next
Yeah,
thing to
yeah,
ask.
absolutely.
Well, it definitely wasn't a secret.
We just let it happen and enjoyed from the sidelines.
So what happened?
Basically, it was sabotage on Mike. Mike and I sabotaged Laura. Basically, there was a character from another band, and let's remain nameless, right? Who was, we'll just say, smitten by Laura, and then when.
I like how you're giggling as you tell this story.
By the way, this is Jasper giggling like a little girl.
Yeah.
It was just entertaining.
It was entertaining, yeah. The word dabble was used.
Nobody understands that. You have to explain.
We don't have to explain.
Okay.
It was an enjoyable experience.
Excellent.
For Mike and I watching in the background.
And then you came out to see. Night.
Was that the next night?
Yeah, I think it was the Thursday.
I think that was.
Ballroom was Wednesday.
It was the next night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was a busy few days for us.
Yeah.
And then we just played last Friday in Toronto at Cherry Cole's, and you said you were going and didn't go. So that was,
Yeah.
As you look.
How was that show?
That show was incredible.
That was a
Talk
rockin'
to
show.
me a little bit about that venue, because I've never even been to Cherry.
Have you ever
so
seen
cool.
any of the cool 90s vampire movies? None of this Twilight stuff. Have you seen
like Fright Night? Well, that was 80s.
Well, no, like Interview with a Vampire type stuff.
Okay,
It's got a very sort of cabaret vampire-esque vibe to it.
Cool.
And everything's this really deep red color.
like everything.
Yeah.
Cool
Everything
mirrors
is
on the
awesome.
walls.
And, felt seating and stuff like this. It sounds like we're in a special movie, but we're not. But it's a really cool venue that we've made some pretty good friends with the people there, and they love having us out. And it's always a good night because you can always expect a pretty good crowd there, and we had a lot of our fans there that night as well. It's always fun when you have one of those crowds where you can get them really involved, and we have a song, Homesick, that has some anthemic haze in the chorus. And so when you can have a crowd there that will sing those haze back to you after a little bit of coaching at the beginning of the song, then you're always bound for a good night.
And at this point, that's where I'll bring in Nick Pescod, who's literally sat here and done nothing but nod. Yeah. Go ahead, Nick, as I cue up that song, so we can play it during the next break.
So I wanted to ask, because I wasn't here in January to get a chance to interview you guys, but I mean, I'm sure Andrea already asked you this, but I mean, how'd you guys get started, and I guess where's the next step for you guys?
Okay, yeah. I mean, this is the band's been around for a while. It's not, whenever you're in a band, it's not something that happens overnight. So we've been around for quite a while. Laura and I have been in the band basically, and we went through lots of different members, people that we respect still to this day. We maintain good relationships with all of them. But that is a roller coaster ride that I don't want to go through again, because finding the right people for the band is just such a daunting task, and it's so difficult to find all the right personalities, let alone talented musicians at the same time. So Mike came into the fray about 2 years ago, and ever since then, that's when things really started to pick up for us. It's when, during that time, we finished our album. We started playing a lot more shows, which is always a funky thing, because you think you've played a lot of shows, and then you kind of look back, and you're like, oh, we've only played 14 shows, really? And we've fought with Mike because we've had a solid group together where we've been able to push things forward more. And so that's basically, in this day and age, with social media and everything like that, our goal is just constantly to get the music out to as many people as possible. And along the way, you meet some fascinating people that 10 years ago you wouldn't have been able to meet, and you meet those people via these social media outlets, right? And then I know Jen's listening in Scotland, and she's just been a huge proponent of getting the word out on the band and helping to spread the music to just so many different people. And once you have allies with you that are working with you with the same goal, then it's a pretty incredible thing. And for a band like us, we don't get commercial radio play right now. Maybe in the future it'll happen. But we have over 6,500 fans on Facebook, and we have over I don't know what
Almost
we're at on
4,000.
Twitter. Almost 4,000 followers on Twitter. There's constant feedback that we're receiving on our our Twitter feed or on Facebook. People comment on anything. And I remember 2 years ago, we'd put something on Facebook. I could have put anything. I just saw a Yeti in the backyard, and he came up, punched me in the face, and then said he liked my haircut. And I would get 0 comments on anything. Now we can post something. We post a picture of, my stupid cowboy shoes, and we get, comments on something within the first few hours. So it's been quite a drastic jump in the last little while, and it's exciting, and we just want to keep that momentum going.
Just remember, when you ask a question, it doesn't just end after like a minute.
And that was like the biggest run-on sentence ever. But you mentioned Jen in Scotland. We got to give a shout out as usual to Lucas in Brazil and Yamalet just right here in Toronto.
For sure. Sorry. Sometimes I forget about the regulars that have been with us forever, but that's not a good thing.
There's others that are Uber fans, but those are 3 that come to mind right at this moment.
There are others.
Get that fan that's in Scotland or Brazil, and how much does that really motivate you to just want to keep going?
See, these are open-ended questions, so I'm going to ask Mike. Mike's sitting next to me, so if I ramble on too much, Mike's going to give me a swift punch to the shoulder.
I'll poke you in the ribs.
Or do that.
Because I want to hear you giggle like a
that's
Pillsbury
just as
Doughboy.
Yeah. So what was the question? How inspirational is it?
Yeah, how motivational is it to,
Motivational, yeah. Well, you get knocked down a lot in this business. People don't necessarily pay complete attention, or it's not for them, and so you get turned down a lot. And even a small thing is if we want to play a club in a certain city, and we contact them, and they give us a bunch of drive us nuts. It's like, just pay attention, book a show. And so things like that can get you down. But then when you get that feedback from people on Twitter and Facebook, and this is going to sound cheesy, but it makes it seem like it's all worthwhile, and there's at least one person out there at that moment in time that respects and enjoys what you're doing. And then you pick your chin up and you keep moving forward again after that.
And I'd say since we've been here last in January or February earlier this year, every day we go on our social media network and there's someone else that's interested, or there's someone else that's complimenting it, or someone else that it makes their day to listen to one of the songs. So it's pretty cool, because yesterday you'll go on and there'll be a comment from someone, and then tomorrow they've told their friend and there's a completely new comment, and it makes you feel pretty good.
Yeah, I saw on your Facebook page that there was somebody had it in their car, and thought that was kind of cool. Somebody took a picture and tweeted it, so I guess that must make people listening to it in their car going to work and probably blaring it pretty loud.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one of the cool things about our Twitter account is that, we all share it. So Laura's on there at times, Mike's on there at times, and I'm on there at times. And so I went on there and I saw they'd originally tweeted us that picture, and Laura had commented back and said, wow, this just made my day. This has got to be the photo of the day. And so then I thought to myself, all right, I'll save the photo and put it on Facebook. And, that's how it works. So there's a lot of interaction between the band on Facebook and Twitter, as well as with fans as well. And on Twitter, you never know who you're going to get. It's either going to be, you'll get Laura one time, Mike one time, or, Jasper the next. It's all over the place.
I have yet to see said picture.
Oh, and now
there it
glorious
is.
Technology again. Mike's going to look at the picture right now.
There you go.
So from Germany.
Internet in the studio is working.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's right on the radio display.
Yeah.
Good job.
You mentioned earlier that it was important to find the right band members and have the right sort of, to gel and to be able to, not just find good music. You mentioned that was a bit of a task earlier. So then what, I guess, sort of they are the ones that, we're going to be the ones that are going forward.
Just no drama. Everyone wants to do it together. And, I think in a lot of bands you can get these sort of Liam Gallagher, Noel Gallagher situations where everybody's vying for, not necessarily the spotlight, but for recognition of some sort. And nobody in this band is after that. I guess for all intensive purposes, or the cliche would be because I'm the lead singer of the band, but that's really not the case. Everybody in this band has their own unique way of portraying themselves, and because of social media and because we're all on all of the sites at different times and for equal amounts of time, everybody's communicating with the fans just as much, right? And that's communicating via these social media outlets. It's not billboards of shirtless pop groups anymore with that one person that can actually maybe sing a little bit and has a little bit less auto-tune on their voice in the studio at the front that gets most of the attention. It's just not like that anymore, and so nobody has any egos in this band, and that just makes it unbelievable to work with. Not that people that we worked with in the past had insane egos, but it didn't work out for whatever reason. Everybody had their own path, and it just seems as though all of our paths are aligning right now.
This, just going back quickly to that, thanks for that long answer.
Yeah.
Going back to that radio picture at Nenya75, the one in Germany that posted it, that's the person who's going to have us for a big barbecue and tons of beers when we go over there. They've already offered to throw a big welcoming party.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And it's in Germany?
Only if you wear those shoes, though.
Yeah, apparently.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break here on Radio Nation and play some more music by, I'm assuming, In My Coma, Andrew. Okay, welcome back to Radio Nation. I'm your host, Nicholas Pescod. This was completely delayed. I had no idea we were going back in the air, but we are. So we're joined live in studio with In My Coma. So it's been, I guess, 2-3 months now since you've been back. What's changed? And I guess, how was Canadian Music Week for you guys as a band?
It's a big party.
A big party.
It's Mike here. Hello.
Good answer.
Hello.
We
Here, Mike.
See, that's why Mike doesn't talk too much.
Canadian Music Week was a show,
Sure was.
and then we left and partied elsewhere. It wasn't the venue that we played,
But it was the venue that we played on Friday.
and it was the venue we played at Canadian Music Week last
And
year,
everybody just tuned out.
and we had a blast.
From Canadian Music Week, I wanted to know if, were you able to get a lot more fans? Were you able to network? Good old networking time.
Yeah, there's one thing I think Laura liked a lot was that a few people that have this online, I guess, music review website called TMAC World, they came out to a show just completely randomly, and they voted us the loudest band at Canadian Music Week, which was pretty cool.
That is
and
pretty
I mean,
cool.
we don't scream or anything like that. It just means that our shows are loud, which is nice.
Wrists, not elbows.
Someone just hate that guy. Topless Tuesdays, so everyone in the studio here has to take their shirt off,
Uh-oh.
and Mary does.
This is
and
going
Mary
down a-
does too. That's the person who tweeted it. Hi, Mary.
This is going down a path that...
All our tops are off now.
Yeah.
6 of us are in the studio.
It's great because she doesn't
We
actually...
need, we need to
Seven.
get Mike away from the microphone as soon as possible.
It's great because she can't see us. So
Yeah.
she has no idea.
Yeah. As far as
I'm doing the show from
listeners-
naked from the waist down and no one knows.
everybody on radio
I
is
know.
good looking.
yeah.
There are
Yeah.
where you have been naked before. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it was, that's why I do radio and not TV, right?
Fair enough.
All right, so Laura, I haven't really asked you any questions yet, but I guess what's it like being the only female in this band?
Well, I've never been in an all-female band, actually, so I wouldn't be able to make a fair comparison, I guess. But being in this band has been an awesome experience. I can say that for sure. It's been interesting.
She's one of the guys, practically, anyway.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a way to say it, but you said it, yeah. That's it.
She's the best looking guy.
Thanks.
With blonde hair.
Yeah. We could dye your hair blonde if you want.
Now, I get then, since Canadian Music Week, what have you guys done? I know you guys played some shows. Andrew's able to come out, but do you have any more upcoming shows? The future, I mean, for those that don't know.
I like the cheap shot at Andrew, though.
Thanks, buddy.
Hey, I just said you came out. I wish I could have come out. Wasn't around.
That's how we opened the show. Was Mike threw a shot at me for coming on Friday?
It was a cheap shot.
He came
But
out to Canadian Music Week.
I
He didn't
referred
come
to
out
that.
to our last show on Friday.
I referred to that.
Well, I mean, we've done a lot in the last while. Most of it, again, has been online because I don't know if everyone here keeps up to date on how many different social media outlets there are, but you do? Okay, cool.
Like 3, right?
No, there's a lot more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. So we've been just registering for all of those things and making sure that we keep our presence known. The other thing we do, and this is kind of we intend to see through to the end, is we want to film a music video for every single song on the album. So we have 4 done. We have a little bit of a break for June until we kick back into a lot of shows in July, and I think we're going to probably try to film at least one more in June or July. My editing's...
Make a show in July.
Okay, sounds good.
Sorry, Mike.
They're in Owen Sound.
I'm down.
Okay. Anyway, that's pretty far away.
It's a nice long drive.
Yeah.
Knowledge on the car.
Yeah.
So yeah, my editing skills are getting pretty good for film and music.